Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome in. We are in the DanceFit Hub, so welcome in, everyone. Let's see. Yes, we are live. Welcome in to the DanceFit Hub, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. This week has been going by really, really quick. I don't know if it's like that for you, but ooh, it's been for me. So welcome into the Dance Fit Hub. My name is Catherine Farfan-Selim, and I am your virtual fitness coach in this group specifically for women over 50 who are trying to get their mojo back. Yes, they're trying to either lose weight, or maybe you're on a health journey, on a get well journey, on a big comeback journey. You're looking to get stronger. You're looking to be in the best shape of your life. That's what we are doing in this group. So it's my job to give you all of the tools, to give you all of the research, to give you all of the information to make this journey for much easier, of course, and to give you the do's and don'ts, to give you the truths and the facts behind everything. Again, also that your journey is much easier and you're able to achieve the things that you want, so that you're able to do the things that you love forever, right? And forever, yeah, we don't know what forever is for each of us, but whatever that forever is, I want you to be able to still do those things, right? Do the things that you love. So that is what we do in this group. So let me know who's here. Let me know. Now, the way Facebook Lives work is that you can see me, but I can't see you. So that being said, the only way that I do see you is if you say something in the comments. So I encourage everyone to always come in, say hello, just like you would in class, just like if I invited you into my home, you would say hello, right? So this is my home. This group is my home, and I'm inviting you in. So please come into the comments and say hello. Very curious to see who is here today. Let's see, we have Francine and Mona are here so far. So welcome in. All right, so every Thursday we have a training, okay? And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're doing anything where you have to physically train. A lot of the times it has to do with mindset, right? Mindset, or me debunking myths, or like I said, a lot of the research that goes behind all of the do's and don'ts, right? And the things that work and the things that don't, right? So that is what we're doing today. Now, our topic today is going to be pretty interesting, because, again, all of the topics that I come up with are really based on conversations with women over 50, right? Specifically for me, I teach at an over 55 community. I also teach online for an over 55 community that exists online. So I come in contact with a lot of women who are over 55. Okay, so that is my expertise. That is my area of expertise. And also I have my wonderful grandmother who is no longer with us, but she was an insider in the whole aging process. So I do use her as a reference a lot. And actually, I'll be using her today as a reference. So welcome in. If you are watching live, again, say something in the comments. And if you're not here live, but you're watching the replay later on, then just type replay in the comments, because unfortunately in Facebook groups, the videos are deleted after 30 days. So if you don't want that to happen, just double check that I have your email address, and you will get the replay sent to you by email. So you can always check it out in there. All right, so today's topic is about when pain becomes a belief. Okay, so Lately, I've had a lot of people coming back from vacations, coming back from the holidays, right? And January, just in general, has been super busy for everyone, including me, including me. Literally, as I sit here, I have my daughter packing her stuff because she's off to college tomorrow, and she will be leaving to Tampa. So, yeah, our older daughter went away to school as well. She's a graduate from the University of Florida. She did her thing and she's back, but now our middle one is going away. So it's kind of going through the motions with that, but she has her assignments, what she has to pack, where it has to go, and all of that. While here, it's just been crazy. And then my husband also just turned 50. So really, really crazy week. So, in speaking with my clients, they too have been super busy. One of my clients is a new grandma. Another one just had to travel a lot of different places. Another one had a lot of appointments. So, January just in general has been really busy. But along with busyness also comes pain. Yes, believe it or not, right? Because if when we're out of our routine, our body decides, yeah, maybe that shoulder thing that was happening, it's kind of gonna creep in again. Maybe that hip thing, maybe that knee thing, right? And so all of the pains of our body kind of start coming back. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But most importantly, how are we going to turn that around? Okay, because there is a way to do that. All right. So remember, I mentioned to you that we were going to be talking about my grandmother a little bit, right? Yeah. So maybe in this story that I'm going to give you, there's a good chance that you might recognize yourself in it. Okay. Because, of course, I saw myself in it. But, let's see. Let's see. So, my grandmother never did any kind of working out. A lot of you, you do work out. You go to your classes and you have your exercise routines and all that. My grandmother did not do that. Okay, she did walk regularly. She did that a lot, and she did whatever exercises the physical therapists gave her, right, or the doctor, those pamphlets, right, that you get at your visits. So she did those until she felt like she was okay, and then she would go back to her normal things, which is what most women do. And but she never did anything really consistent except for walking that she liked to do. And even one time, when she would come to visit here in Florida, she took my Drums Alive class, maybe like once or twice. So some of you may remember that. And she was always in awe of all the people in my classes, right? Specifically the women. She was like, wow, like I'm really impressed. They come here every week. I'm like, yes, they do. And she was like, wow, they really, they're so they're moving, they're having fun, they're doing all these things. She was really, really impressed. And so she would only take my Drums Alive class because it was the chair class, right? And she would never take any of my dance fitness classes at all. Because she was like, no way, I can't move like that. Like, I can't do all that. I'm like, Grandma, they're pretty much the same age as you. She's like, no, no, no. I'm too old for that. I can't do that. Then my joints start hurting. I don't want to deal with that. And it's too fast for me. I'm like, okay, whatever, right? But over the years, it's almost like I see my grandmother again. She's talking to me because over the years, I've had many women in my classes who come to my chair class, right? And they say, well, I like this because I don't have to stand for too long. Well, why can't you stand for too long? Oh, because my knees, I've had this problem with my knees and I can't, right? And blah, blah, blah. The story goes on. Or I like this class because I can sit. I can't do that in other classes. And so my knees won't, my knees just won't let me do the other things in the other classes. So this is good because I get to sit. Okay, great. I like this class because the other classes are just too much for my joints, right? So all the things that my grandmother pretty much used to say, right? And so I hear this very often, especially in my chair class, right? And I mean, listen, those concerns are super real. I totally understand that. I mean, if you've ever chosen a class that's like in a chair, or maybe a little easier class because the other stuff felt like too much, or maybe just the whole class felt like a lot, right? Put too much in the comments. I'm interested to see how many of you actually maybe have done that, right? But here's the interesting part. So my grandmother and these ladies, right, that I see on a weekly basis, they will tell me, uh, what did you do on the weekend? Oh, I went to a dance. Okay. Some of them go to 2 or 3 dances a week, right? Um, or, I went on vacation. Oh, what did you do on vacation? Oh, we did excursions. We walked up the, this and that. We went down the blah, blah, blah. We were all over the place, lots of sightseeing. Great. Or they'll say, oh, I went to a wedding. We had so much fun. Or we went to an event. Okay, I understand. And my grandmother used to say the same thing. Oh, she went to a party. She went on a travel excursion with her friends. She did all these things, right? So let me ask you, like, where have you pushed through discomfort because it was something that you loved? Because obviously those are things that we like to do, right? We like to have fun, right? We'll forget about the pain for the minute, right? We'll do it. So let me know in the comments. Was it for vacation? Was it for dancing? Was it for a family event? Like, when did you, kind of push through that discomfort because you wanted to do it because it was something that you loved, or you knew you were going to have fun, right? Okay. So that's normal, of course, right? But there's a belief that I hear constantly, right? And this is specific to women over 50. Now, arthritis is a thing. I have arthritis as well. I have bursitis. I pretty much am getting all the itises. Okay. So, in case you think I'm too young for that, no, it's happening. All right. But I hear a lot of times, like, my arthritis. So I have arthritis. I can't do exercises like I used to do because I have arthritis. Or I can't do too much, because it's just going to make my arthritis worse. Okay, so I kind of get the word arthritis, especially in a community of over 55, gets thrown in my face a lot of times. Okay, so have you ever said something like this? Have you ever heard someone say something like this, right? Maybe you even said it quietly to yourself, right? Say arthritis in the comments if you have, because I guarantee you at some point you maybe have used it, right? You pulled out the arthritis card. So here's the shift that I want you to kind of consider. It's not movement that causes most joint pain. Okay, so listen to that again. It's not movement that causes most joint pain. It's the lack of strength. I know your mind is completely blown right now. And I know some of you are like, that's not true. She's not saying the truth. I'm telling you 100%. It's not movement that causes most joint pain. It's lack of strength. Okay. So if you're suffering from arthritis, I am not saying it's not a thing. Remember, I have it too. My mother has it too. My grandmother had it too. I know it's a thing, right? But I just want you to keep an open mind as I go through the rest of the training. Okay. So for those of you that take chair classes, that's not giving up, right? I know that. That doesn't mean that you're less than anything else, that you're doing less than anyone else, right? That's a starting point. Okay. So, how many of you have ever taken a chair class, right? And it helped you feel safe enough to move, or maybe safe enough to come back from a recovery, right? So, again, starting point. That's what this is. And I know some of you have, because you've come to me after a an injury happens and you're like, I can't take your Zumba classes anymore, or I can't take your aerobics class anymore. What do I do? And I'm like, come to the chair class. And you've done that. So I know for sure that this is a real thing. The danger is when we start telling ourselves, and if you listen closely, I said when we start telling ourselves, right? I'm including myself in this, is this is all I can do now. Okay, and I've heard this before. Well, this is all that I can do now. See how I just changed it? Because this is the way that I've heard it, right? And even for me, right, my body is changing as well, just like it's changing for you. And it's gotten to some point where I'm like, well, this is it, right? I guess this is all I can do now. But that's not true. Okay, so maybe it comes into your mind. Has that ever come into your mind when you're like, is this all I can do now? Right? There are kind of different groups with this. There are women that are like, is this really all I can do now? And you don't accept it, right? And you're like, no, can't be. And you just try to push a little harder, right? And then there's the other group that's like, this is all I can do now. And kind of just accepting it and sitting with that, right? So which one do you kind of fall into? What do you think? Yeah, I know. Just think about it. Think about it a little bit. So let me kind of talk a little. Okay, so I'm going to gently call us out. And again, I'm including in there, right? And of course, because I love you, right? I love you guys. I really, really do. You know that I'm very passionate about this. But we tolerate pain for fun, for travel, and for celebrations, right? We do. Like how many times, even let's think of younger ladies, right? How many times do you see a lady at a function and you see them wearing shoes, even young girls, shoes that they are not going to be comfortable in, right? But they are going to do it because they want to have fun. They want to be at the celebration. They want to be doing all the things, right? But they're in pain, right? So we tolerate pain for, again, fun, travel, celebrations, right? For the things that we want to do, that we love to do, but we avoid strength work, right? We avoid the tough kind of exercise, or the maybe what you think is going to be a tough exercise, because it feels uncomfortable in a different way, right? I mean, let's be real, we do. I avoided it for many, many years, right? Because it felt uncomfortable. And the reason that it felt uncomfortable was because it's not something that is trending. Maybe now it is. Maybe nowadays, like strength training, being healthy, it's kind of trending, but it wasn't always like that, right? So be real with me. Does this kind of hit close to home for you? Type yes. Say yes in the comments if this is definitely something that you're thinking of. As I'm looking through the comments here, I can see, yeah, definitely. A lot of too much is in there, and agreeing, right, with lack of strength. So the issue isn't that you can't handle discomfort, because we know you can, right? We know that you can push through. The issue is what kind of discomfort we choose. See what I did there? Yeah, right? So can you handle discomfort? Yes. But what kind of discomfort will you choose? Okay, and that's where the issue comes into place, right? Where I have participants in my classes that are like, I can't because, and then they always have to touch the part that's aching, right? Or where they have this an issue, right? And so that's okay that they've chosen that's the kind of discomfort that they want to use, but we don't want it to become a safety blanket or a crutch. Do you see what I'm saying? And this is why strength training is important, and it works. It works. For those of you that are on here, I know for a fact most of you, you're doing strength training, right? And you know, you can feel it, right? It's supporting your joints. For a lot of you here, you have less joint pain. Does it mean that the joint pain goes away? Does it mean the arthritis goes away, the bursitis, all that? No. Okay. It doesn't necessarily go away. It just means that it's different for you, right? Maybe it's not as strong as it was without the strength training, but more so it's creating support. You're creating muscle to support those joints. So that's what's making you feel better. You're reducing the pressure on your knees and your hips, right? When you lose the weight, and I'm sure for a lot of you, if you've gone to the doctor, they've said this to you. If you lose about 10 pounds, you might not need that surgery, right? Because it reduces the pressure. The weight has to do with the pressure on your joints. So if you're a little bit overweight, right, it's definitely going to put pressure on the things that are helping you stay up. Think of it that way, right? Think of your house, your body like sticks, right? If you're the inside is all sticks and you're packing on stuff on top of those sticks are going to come down, right? So it's the same thing with your body. Strength training also improves your balance. So for some of you here, I know that you've told me that since you did some strength training, you felt better, right? The balance, you were less fearful of falling. You felt a little better, a little more secure, a little more confident, right? That's balance. That's what that has to do. It doesn't mean that you're like, oh, can I stand on one foot? Yes, I can. No, right? That's in a controlled environment when you're standing on one foot. But that's not what we live every single day, right? We're walking around, we're going from our house to the garage, there's stuff on the floor. We have to kind of avoid that, right? Somebody yesterday, I bumped into somebody. I said to her, oh, I haven't seen you in my chair class. And she said, yes, I fell in my garage. I tripped and I fell. And, she was telling me all the stuff that happened. And I'm like, yeah, right? So improving balance, and most of all, it builds your confidence, because when you feel good, right, and you're doing all the things and you're seeing the results, of course you're going to feel really good, right? Your confidence is going to be through the roof, of course, right? And it doesn't mean, when we're talking about strength training, it doesn't mean heavy weights or jumping or doing all these crazy things that you're seeing online. Are there women over 50, 60, 70, 80s, 90s doing weight training and doing amazing things? Of course, right? But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm just talking about general, regular ladies like you, right? So don't think when I'm saying strength training that it has to do with anything crazy, okay? So being that we're talking about strength training, what is it that scares you the most about strength training, right? Some ladies, when I've asked this question before, they say, I'm afraid I'm gonna get hurt, or I'm afraid that my joints are gonna hurt more, or my body is gonna hurt more. Or I also get, well, I don't know exactly what to do, right? Or some people are like, I don't like weights. I don't like to touch those things. Okay, so what scares you the most? What is that one thing about strength training? Let me know in the comments. This one I'm really curious about. Amen. Every pound loss is 4 pounds of pressure. Yes, Bev, yes, you are accurate. Every pound that's lost is 4 pounds of pressure off of your knees. That's crazy, ladies. Think about that. Every 4 pounds, and 4 pounds is a lot. It's a lot to lose. I don't know if anybody agrees with me, but I think even 1 pound is hard to lose. It could take like a whole month to lose that 1 pound, right? So yes, 4 pounds is what it takes to get the pressure off of the knees. And some of you may say, well, I'm not that overweight. like but can you lose 4 pounds? Maybe, right? So yeah, it does it adds a lot of pressure onto the areas where we don't want it. So again, let me know what is it that scares you the most about strength training. I want to see these answers in the comments. And if you're like, well, nothing scares me, I want to hear that too. I want to hear, I'm not scared. I've been doing it for whatever. And let me know in the comments. All right. So here's the thing. Your joints don't need less movement. You know that now, right? Because if they think about this, if they did need less movement, then your doctor would tell you literally lay in your bed and never get up. Then you'll feel much better, right? But wouldn't that be the cure? Wouldn't that be like the solution? Then we wouldn't walk around in pain. Absolutely not, right? That sounds like insane. Like, doesn't that sound crazy now that I'm saying it like that, right? So you just need more support. Your joints need more support. And, this goes back to some of you saying to me, it sucks getting old, Catherine. Like, it really just does. It sucks. Everything hurts, everything. Yes, I agree with you that your body does go through changes, but I'm not going to say that it sucks. It's just that your body needs more support. I mean, think about it. You're driving a car. Your body is a car that you've had for X amount of years. So if you're like 65, you've been in that car for 65 years with the same parts, the same original parts, right? And for those of you that have new parts, well, yeah, you got them replaced and you have to kind of work to, get them moving, right? So your body just needs more support and you have to give the support that it needs. It's not just going to like miraculously all of a sudden, like those same joints aren't going to be like the way they were when you were like 20. Absolutely not. Okay. So you have to kind of think of your body in a different way. So here's something I learned working with a lot of you and just women over 50 in general, right? Pain often masks fear. Okay? Usually fear of the unknown. All right? But it might be fear of doing it wrong or getting hurt or feeling weak, like you can't do it, right? So if it's fear for you, if it's any of those things, like how does it show up for you? Is it hurt? Is it that you might fail? Or is it that you might feel weak? Like you compare yourself to other people? Like what is that for you? What is that fear? Because really that's what it comes down to, right? Anytime we don't want to do something, it's really not because we don't want to do it. There's always an underlying kind of reason, okay? And it's usually something that we fear. That's, psychology, okay? So your body, again, think of it like a vintage car, all right? It is going to need, it's not broken, still runs, right? You have a lot of mileage on it, but it doesn't mean that you can't drive it, right? You can still drive a vintage car, all right? It just needs tweaking, right? And in the case of your body, it's just undertrained. Now the things that you did before that used to work aren't going to work now. Not necessarily, right? So you have to start to do things differently, all right? And a lot of women over 55 and 50 in general they're hesitant to make changes. They're hesitant to try new things, especially in this season of your life. But I'm here to tell you, like, I'm a perfect example. I had to go all in order to get to where I am today. To get, the other day in class, somebody said to me, oh, well, actually, I overheard them talking, and she was saying, oh, she looks like she lost weight. And the other lady said, oh, no, I think, it's because she's wearing black. And, so I'm like listening to this and I'm like, okay. So yeah, I mean, obviously the color black does make you look thinner. I honestly wear black a lot because, I don't know. kind of just wear black a lot. I do have colorful clothing. I do wear that on occasion. But really, the scale hasn't really changed too much. Yes, I in the beginning I lost a ton of that unwanted fat, but really it's the strength training that has changed my whole body, my body composition. So even though the scale doesn't really change, that unwanted fat, that unhealthy fat has left, and I've replaced it with muscle. And this is what you see today. Okay. So what if in your life you stopped kind of approaching it as, is this going to hurt me? Because I used to do that too. And maybe you kind of phrase it to, will it make me stronger over time? So what is the end result, right? And that's kind of what I had to do for myself. I kind of had to be like, is this going to be hard? Is it going to hurt? Am I going to be able to do this? Like, it was all the negative things, right? And then I had to rephrase it and be like, okay, where's the end result here? What do I want? Do I want to be stronger so that I can live an independent life as I get older, so that I don't end up being like dependent on others, like I saw my grandmother go through and like I've seen others go through in the last 5 years? You know, teaching in an over 55 community, you see that a lot, right? I've seen the decline of a lot of the women that started with me 13 years ago, right there. So that's what I'm saying. It's like a real thing. So I have to kind of rephrase all of that and be like, what is it that's gonna get me there? And then the next step is, am I willing to do it no matter what? And yes, I was, right? So maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you are. Maybe you're kind of thinking about it, right? And for everybody, it's going to be a little different. But you have to be open to thinking differently. That's really what it comes down to. So you don't need to do more, right? You just need to do what works. That's the most important thing, okay? And being in this group, I can tell you first, almost 100%, I'm going to say 100%, I can tell you that what I am saying to you about strength training is 100% correct. Okay. And if you want to look it up, you want to research it, I bet that you will find 1,000,001 articles on how women over 50 need to do strength training. Okay. So, big question, are you using pain as information or as permission? That's a big one, right? Yeah, because we tend to use pain like a crutch. That's what happens, right? And we do it so much so that reason becomes an excuse, and then it just becomes part of your life. Like, you're just going to use it forever. Okay, so think about that. Think about those things. That's why I do these trainings, to give you a little food for thought. And if you're ready to kind of stop letting fear make the decisions, and you want to know what that next step is, you know that I'm always here and we can chat about it. So you can put the word strong in the comments. That way I'll know to have a little chat with you to see what you've been doing, what's been working, what hasn't, and what you can be doing, what your next steps are going to be. All right. And if today gave you something to think about, I want you to put a heart in the comments. Let's see if you guys are getting tech savvy. You're learning now, right? To put a heart in the comments. You're going to look for an emoji of a heart, and you're going to put it in there. If I gave you something to think about. All right. So ladies, your body is capable of more than you've ever been led to believe. I'm telling you this open and honestly, because even for my own journey, the things that I am able to do now, I never ever thought, even sitting here with you, okay, doing these weekly lives, having clients transform their bodies, right? Having women, even in shorter times, have big wins and big transformations. I never thought I was going to do that. I thought that I was just going to be, a Zumba instructor, a dance instructor. That's what I thought I was going to do. Never thought that, I'd be doing the things that I'm doing now. Okay. And maybe for you, that's the same. Maybe you've been on a trip that you never thought you would do in your lifetime, or maybe you've seen things, you've done things, right? So just believe me when I tell you that your body, even though it's vintage, vintage original parts, right, is still capable of more. Okay. And like I said, more than you've been led to believe. Okay. It's all in the beliefs that you've heard. So you need to believe that you are capable. And once you believe that, it opens up so many things for you. Like your eyes, all of a sudden, it's like amazing. So we're almost at the midway mark of this month. I can't even believe it, but we're there. So tell me in the comments. I want to know, because we spoke about this a few weeks ago. What small wins have you had so far? Because a lot of you told me we're going to do all these things in the beginning of the year, right? So where are you with those things, right? Have you had some weight loss? Maybe it was 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, right? What was it? Are you being consistent, right? We had a whole training about that last week. And maybe you started going to a new class. Maybe you enrolled in a new program. I know I have a few of you right now in my programs, and they're doing amazing, by the way. So maybe you did that. Or what have you achieved in the first few weeks of this year? Okay, because now we're still here. It's still the first month of the year. So what have you achieved? Maybe it was just being more aware of what you're eating. That's good. That's good. That's progress, right? Maybe it's just you getting up every day. Perfect. That's a small win. Maybe it's you going on that walk that you said you were going to do. Perfect, right? So no win is too small. I want to hear the rest of these comments that I'm going to be looking at under this video. I want to see wins. I want to see the things that you have done. And don't think that it has to be a big win. Small. The smaller, the better. Okay? So I can't wait to read all of your wins. And let me see here. Making sure I have the correct form and therefore avoiding injury. Yes, that's important. Mindset shift, information, and then modify the form to avoid the pain. Yes, exactly. So we do have to, Bev brought up a good point before I go. Sometimes modifications are great when they still are working the area that needs to be worked on, right? So you're still using the same muscle, you're just doing it in a different way because of whether it's like an injury or something like that, right? But what we have to be careful of with modifications is that we're not modifying it to avoid the exercise. Does that make sense? So sometimes I'll have someone say to me, I don't do squats. And I'm like, okay, why not? So let's say they say, well, because, I have my knees are a little tender, and so I can't do squats. I'm like, well, first thing I say is, well, have you tried a squat? No. Or yes, right? So it either kind of goes both ways. But the thing is, like somebody like that, I have a modification for them to do, right? First, to see if they can actually physically do it. Now, if they physically can't, then yes, I have to give them a different kind of modification. But you see where I'm going there, right? Because sometimes people say, I can't because of the belief, because of what they've seen others do for that particular exercise, right? So be careful with modifications, because sometimes we stay in modification land because we are trying to avoid the work. Okay, if that makes any sense. So be careful with that. Got back to core class and tried out a new class, bands and balls. Yes, that's a good one. Consistent 10K steps a day. Like it. That's really, really good. All right. So looks like Bev has some really good small wins. So I would like to see some from Donna. I want to see some from Francine. Francine, you have really good ones. Can you please put them down? Thank you. So you already sent me a text on that. Joan. Joan definitely has some small wins for us. She is in her 90s and she's rocking it. So yes, she's doing awesome. We have also, I thought I saw Diane. Diane has really good wins as well. So ladies, put them down. Put them down. Be proud of these wins that you have. Okay. You never know, somebody else is going to see these comments and be like, wow, that's amazing. That could be me. Right? Okay. So can't wait to read the rest of your wins under the comments under this video. And if you're watching the replay here, don't worry, put it under here. If you're watching the replay by email, then send me an email. Just press reply and give me your wins. Come on, I want to hear from you. I want to get to know you a little bit better. All right. And I will see you all next week. Bye.